connection to connection. And I thought that every month, at the end of the month, what we would do is we'd have a special individual, organization, group, ministry that would come in and help us focus on what's going on in our larger community, like greater needs than the ones that sometimes we individually can get focused on. And we've had the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission, like Susan was talking about. We had the Jersey Shore Dream Center. Last month, we spent time in a very focused and intentional prayer service for the country of Ukraine and all of what they are going through. And so this month, we're going to come back on a more local level and talk about a ministry, an organization called 180, Turning Lives Around. Now, how many of you guys have ever heard of 180? Some of you. Okay, for those of you who have not, 180 is an organization that's designed to empower survivors and families who've been affected by domestic violence and sexual assault to find courage and strength to turn their lives around. This is a very real issue where real kingdom work is going on. And so this morning, Crystal, who is a part of our congregation, but who also works at 180, her official title is Program Coordinator and Sexual Violence Specialist for Shore Regional Outreach Programming. She's going to come and share a little bit about what 180 does, about why she got involved and what it means to her. And then she's going to give us an idea about how perhaps as a church or even as individuals we can, at the very least, grow our understanding and be aware of what goes on, but perhaps even use our gifts and talents in a way that would be a blessing to some of the women who are going through the trauma that they do. So without any further ado, would you help me welcome our own Crystal Watson?
I have notes because the person that was supposed to speak dodged, but not really. She had an emergency. So thank you for having me. I was really happy to see how many people raised their hands to say that they heard about 180, because I always get puzzled when I hear that people don't know about it, especially because we're the lead domestic violence and sexual assault agency within Monmouth County, so that's a big deal. So I'm here to talk about several things. First, the services that we offer. All of our services are free and confidential. We are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there is no time that you could call anytime and say, I'm going through something, or I have a question, or I have a friend, or I have a neighbor, or I know a kid, or something. You could give us a call at any time. There's really, a lot of people get confused with that. So we do have a 1-800 number that you could call. We have transitional housing programs for women who are leaving the abusive relationship. We also house men as well, so they usually stay in hotels while women will stay in the shelter. So this does happen to men and women, not necessarily just women. With the transitional housing program, you do have to be in the shelter program for approximately 30 days because they want to make sure that you're working the program, you're getting counseling, you're getting groups, and so forth. We do have sexual violence services, also free and confidential. All of our services are short-term, so usually about 5 sessions, but then we'll refer you out to another agency unless you want to do a support group, which is 12 weeks, and sometimes you can roll over to other groups, which are also free. We provide a lot of training, so if you have questions on what you want to learn, maybe you want to call the agency and say, hey, you know, I really want to get involved, I really want to volunteer, I really want to help, you could give us a call and you can let us know in what way you would like to volunteer. We have a lot of volunteers, which we're really lucky. We're not always so pressed to look for them, so we get really, really lucky. But one of the training opportunities that are coming up right now is it's called the Domestic Violence Response Team. So what you will do is you will basically work with the police department and the prosecutors to basically make sure that each survivor that comes to the police department knows about our services. So they can get counseling and so forth. You can talk to them about it. Sometimes they might not be open to it, but just having a friendly face and seeing someone that can talk them through it and say, hey, you know, you might not be ready right now, but these are services that you can utilize. The training for this starts April 26th and it runs through to May 18th. It's hybrid, so it's part in person and part like online. So a lot of people are trying to move out of the online stuff. So I guess we're doing that too. So I will suggest if you are interested, I'm going to be at the table in the front. You can come talk to me, give me your information. I can send it over to this department. Again, it's a commitment, but it's really when you're available. Like if you want to be available maybe one weekend out of the month, you could do that. Or if you want to be available one day out of the month, you could do that. It's really up to you on how many times you want to respond to the police department. Is it a big deal? Yes, it is. You will see a lot of things. It's sometimes scary, but you're trained and you're offered a lot of support. So a lot of people say they could do it and they get into it and they're like, oh no, this is a little triggering for me. But if you have ideas and you think you might want to do it, you could do it. Let us know. So I'm often asked, like, Crystal, why do you do the work that you do? I'm actually I'm 13 years in, heading into 13 years. I started off as a volunteer, as an intern, and then I started off as a case manager, a bilingual case manager. I worked at the shelter. When I was there, at first I would feel a little sad, and I would just always want to help everyone, and I kind of immersed myself into the work. I burned myself out a little bit in the beginning because I'm an empath and I just want to help everyone. Then I found myself obsessed with the work. And the reason why I found myself obsessed with the work was because I would see progress. And I would see progress even if they went back. They knew to come back. They knew who to call. They knew to ask for help. They knew what to do in case a person decided they wanted to, I don't know, overdrink, and maybe that night it was going to get intense. They knew about safety planning. They knew how to prepare their kids and how to create code words. So even if a person doesn't successfully leave in the beginning, I always have hope that they do. And something that sets me different from a lot of people I learned in my field is that I never lose hope. I've seen domestic violence growing up, and I've always said, I really wish that someone would give my family the resources so that I can move forward and my family could learn what healthy relationships are. I think every single person in this room knows one person who's been in an unhealthy relationship. Every single person in here, either a marriage, a boyfriend, a mother, a father. It doesn't necessarily need to be an intimate relationship. And a lot of people confuse that and say, well, he's just yelling at me, he's just withholding funds from me, or he just threatened to take the house, or he just threatened to take all the animals and the kids. That's abuse. So a lot of the times people minimize it and stay in these situations not knowing that they're putting themselves in further harm, which is emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, physical. I often hear clients tell me, that's the least of my worries. I would rather him hit me or she hit me than to just, go through the mental stuff, the mental torment, they call it. So one of the things I will say, when I came to Grace, I was going through a separation at the time, and I didn't notice that for so many years, I was trying to help survivors because I wanted to help myself. I was finding myself in an emotionally abusive relationship, and I found myself conflicted between God's word and what I should do. And although I didn't experience physical abuse, I think the emotional abuse was far worse. And my job honestly helped me through because I was able to see the red signs, but I ignored it, but helping others was a Band-Aid to my life. So it kind of made me feel like, well, if I'm going through it and I'm helping someone else, then I'll be okay. I remember when I got saved, I thought okay, everything's gonna be perfect. God is gonna make everything rainbows and everything's gonna be perfect. But in fact, I was telling Pastor in our last conversation, everything got worse. It was he started to take everything out of my life, everything. And then I realized then was that sometimes you just have to prepare yourself for a new world, a new life, a new set of friends, I think that God has his intentions for me personally. And when I say he changed my entire circle, he did. And I still work for 180. It's a place I want to retire. I love the work that I do. And to be my age and know exactly what I want to do, like I was telling him, I was asking God for so many years, what's my calling? What's my calling? What should I do? What should I do? And this job brings me peace, no matter how hard it is, no matter how many sleepless nights or my husband has to deal with it, and me coming home sad or having to know that someone's kids were removed or one of my clients didn't make it that day. I still have hope, and I hope that you guys get involved with the mission if you want to and look into it. And again, there's going to be pamphlets in the front. If you have any questions, please help yourself and come talk to me if you like. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Crystal. We so appreciate your bringing awareness to us, but just also understanding from a personal nature how it has impacted and shaped you, and just your commitment to doing kingdom work in areas that we really need to be engaged in. So thank you so much. And for those of you guys who were watching on live stream, please feel free to call us this week at Grace. We can connect you to Crystal with whatever information you may need if you're looking to participate or become a volunteer in this area that is so significant and important. So thank you, Crystal. Appreciate that so much. And we're going to say goodbye to our live streaming friends, because this last part of our service is our bowl prayer time. And so obviously you can't participate in that part, but we thank you for being with us. We hope you have a blessed day and week. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what our bowl